Onstage, onstage with Jim and Tom. 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 Tom and Jim.
Tonight, we welcome the shape-shifting orchestral rock band Battlehooch to the stage at the Phoenix Theater. Battlehooch is based in San Francisco and has been a band for nearly 10 years. Tonight, we'll learn more about the individuals behind the music, as well as celebrate and explore what Battlehooch has meant to them as we approach their big 10-year anniversary. Please welcome to the program the spirited young men of Battlehooch.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Welcome back.
My God.
Hello.
I believe the viewers should know, if they're not watching but listening, there are cigars, there is a card game. We can get the card game going, by the way, if you want to.
Right. Big money. The house is taking $5 a pop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben, cut that.
Before we started recording, you talked about different personas that Battlehooch does in the van. This is interesting to me. Are these personas that the individuals have?
These are grotesque kind of abstractions of the types of people that we see when we're out on the road.
Okay.
Like, for example, there's a character that we have named Travis, and Travis's job is that he goes from town to town doing various types of business meetings, conferences and stuff, but he loves food, and he's all about eating food, and he's all about like going to like the cheapest but grimiest restaurant and like lining the pockets of his jacket with like plastic so that he could put like tartar sauce and like fried chicken in his pocket.
Gotta get some more of that tartar sauce.
Yeah. He brings a smoker with him, like when so he like is smoking a lamb in his hotel room, like while he's at his conference, so that he could, late night lamb smoke.
And this individual, is this an overweight individual?
Well, yeah, yes. Oh my
Okay.
God.
Well, I'm just trying to paint a picture.
Oh yeah. Well, he sweats a lot. He's a loud talker. He's very boisterous. He loves shrimp too. He's
Yeah,
a
shrimp guy.
He's a big fan of shrimp.
He would have loved the old, what was that? All the shrimp you could eat at Sizzler. Yeah,
Exactly.
he
Dude,
loves deals.
That's why they don't do that anymore.
He has like one of those frequent, he has like the $500 gift certificate to the Cheesecake Factory. Like sometimes when you go to Safeway and they have those things, you're like, who would buy that? Travis. Like, see, that's kind of how the character came about. It was like, who is the person that is indulging in like the all-you-can-eat, like lobster buffet at Sizzler?
So to provide some context then, when you are traveling far away to tour, you probably get into character. You probably do some voices for an individual such as this, and you have a little bit of fun. What does this individual sound like?
You do Travis usually.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and give him.
He's like, oh man, they had these ribs with barbecue sauce at the. Oh my God, I got a little bit on my chin, and then I decided that I wanted to save it, so I took the barbecue sauce and I put it into a cup, and I put the cup in the refrigerator, and then later on when I'm driving down the car, I'm like, I can have my barbecue sauce now.
I got one that I do. I don't know her name, but she just says fuck a lot. She's like, oh my fucking God.
Oh, that's Madison.
Fuck.
Madison.
That's Madison. Well, there's
That's
Madison.
the female Madison.
Yeah, there's Madison and Madison.
And her husband Madison.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We have a it's
You have
sort of a
version of
yuppie person.
Yeah, she's just
they're
so,
a couple.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
You guys are so fucking good.
And she's always disappointed with like the sushi.
Yeah.
She's like
the
way you-
occasional
I know the
vocal
type.
fry.
I mean, my
Is
God,
she-
she's been living inside me for years.
She's Travis's daughter, right? And then boy Madison works for Travis and loves Travis, and it really drives girl Madison crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Our Madison is like this couple is very asexual.
Okay.
And
It
yeah,
might be a
she's
trophy
muted.
relationship.
Yeah, they're yeah. It's
Who's the couple that you two do?
Hank and
Hank and
Judy.
Judy.
Hank and
Yeah.
Judy.
Let's hear more about Hank and Judy.
so
And so Battlehooch is on tour. They're driving
Yeah.
to Reno. It's a long drive.
Actually, that's
With
how we
Hank
came
and
up with
Judy.
Hank and Judy.
I had a feeling about that.
It was
It's an
it
elderly
was on
couple.
that highway, elderly couple.
And Hank has lost his vision, and he's lost his
In
hearing,
Korea.
and he's lost his sense
He's
of
old.
touch.
But Judy is so excited about all the the Roadhouse antiques and stuff.
What does she sound like?
She goes, "Oh, Hank, look at this! Isn't this gorgeous?"
And then Hank will do something like, "Who's talking?"
What's that?
Yeah. And so they're a great foil for each other, and there is love there. There's a lot of love.
How long,
there.
how long have they been married?
It's not gonna
Well, since before Korea, so
And he
Bringing that up again.
He was in the war, right?
Oh yeah, he was in. Hank was in it.
Well, she was a nurse. Hey, by the way, I think that did I win? I think I won.
Oh no,
There's a card game going on right here.
I thought, okay.
Tom, do you have any characters that you like to play or that you create in your head, such as these? They could join the party.
I use them daily.
Okay, well, give us one example. Give us one example.
I can't even think of one right now. The problem is that when it comes out, it may be tough to get.
Oh,
Back
out.
in.
Well, but see, you're talking more about characters that you play as opposed to these sort of impersonations.
Well, we do have a
It's a
character. You should
problem.
know we have a character that blurs the line because we're really not sure if our bass player is actually Sven from Sweden.
Oh, yeah.
He's always calling up Starbucks.
He's the newest addition.
Yeah, Sven from Sweden.
We never
Sven.
know which one's more
Sven.
real, Grant or Sven.
And could we maybe get a little voice from our
Well, you'd probably have to crank call a bar because that's how he operates.
I crank.
Do you want me to prank call a bar right now?
I crank call a
speakerphone?
couple bars that have fucked us in the past. Or
Do you want to do it right now? Do you want to do it right now?
We should call one now. Yeah.
We call him.
yeah, call. Here we go. What should I say?
Gustav from
It's just the
Spain.
normal line.
Yeah, usual.
The normal,
You know.
the Sven.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Sven from Sweden. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Is the owner, bouncer / sound guy there?
I'm sorry, who?
The owner, bouncer / sound guy.
No, he's not here.
Okay, can you help me? I'm in the bathroom and there's no more toilet paper. Can you send in someone?
Yeah, sure, they're on their way.
Okay, I'll call back.
That's pretty good.
She was like happy to hear from you. You could tell that she knew exactly who you were, but she was like, "Oh, awesome!" Like the moment in my day.
He was expecting you to order a Mai Tai to go on your Uber.
Yeah, hi, Sven. Yeah, sometimes Sven calls and asks.
Coffee and cream.
That's if you have Starbucks.
It's not particularly
They have-
Swedish sounding though. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
don't
Indian
know.
almost.
It's like Irish, Indian,
Well, he's of
Jamaican.
mixed descent. Did this venue hurt Battlehooch?
Well, no.
We had one. I think we had maybe our worst. No, probably not our worst gig, but
Tied
top
for
five.
worst.
Top five.
Was it because of their treatment of you?
Yeah, it was.
It was
I
terrible.
mean,
It was everything.
like we don't really
Everything
want to
about
like, don't want to talk too much.
We're gonna bleep the name of the establishment.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, it was just. I mean, it was run by.
yeah.
I mean, the whole show.
Well, we'll bleep that out too. I'm gonna bleep that word out too.
It was just like one. Like okay, so sometimes venues put the mixing board, for the show, like behind the stage, which is the stupidest thing ever. Example A, example B, the only person that was allowed to touch the mixing board was the door guy. So if we ever wanted to adjust anything, we had to stop playing, go outside, get the door guy, and it was just horrible. And then at the end of the night, we had to like harass the guy like over and over again to get paid. After like the fifth or sixth time, he just went crazy on Tombo. Started like
Tom.
shoving him. I had like it's like the first time in my life I've ever had to separate two people, and he like we were asking for some money. He gave us. He's like if you guys need money, here's $20. And Tombo took the money and ripped it up and threw it in his face. And then the guy was like, throw these fuckers out. Like
See, there you go.
yeah. So
that's
it
what
was like a
happened.
horrible gig, but we got. See,
We got a soundbite.
That's actually kind of like our criteria. It's like a gig is not totally bad unless we get a quote out of it. It's like if we can get a quote out of it, then it's like okay.
Do we have any other characters that we would like to share with the world?
There's Mark Dunn.
Oh yeah, Mark.
He's done, dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's done. He's over. He's given up.
Mark
Yeah.
Dunn is the
He's just
guy
outta here,
who is
dude.
playing the gig. He's on like the 40th straight night of playing gigs, and he's playing a terrible gig in some small town. Nobody's there. He's about to play his first chord, and he just goes, "I'm done, dude. I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. We try so hard, and then we play these songs, and nobody cares, dude. And then I'm done, dude. I'm done. I'm so done."
Well, is he a sympathetic character or is he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he's sympathetic. We've all
Mark
been
Dunn.
there.
Yeah, all musicians are Mark Dunn at some point in their career.
The goal is to be Mark Dunn as little as possible.
Oh, yeah.
That's goal number one as a musician.
Well, when you compared the music industry to gambling, I thought that was a really good comparison.
What I said was, we were talking about my show booking here at the Phoenix over the last 9 years, and I said sometimes I do a lot, sometimes I do a little, because all it is just glorified gambling.
Yeah.
You hit a big one and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
amazing.
going to do a show a week, whatever.
That's why
And
you
then
keep doing it,
And then you lose 5,000 and you're like, well, that is 5,000 I don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm done.
Done, dude.
Boom or bust.
You guys have been a band for 9 or 10 or almost 10 years.
Yep.
And humor's always played a big role in your friendship and in your band and all that. But, the country's changed a lot in 10 years. And like characters and things that you would joke about back then are not really fit for public consumption anymore.
I think that we are the most inappropriate characters.
I don't know if we have any sacred cows. I mean, everything's fair game.
Yeah.
Everybody should hear it too. I mean, this is a dirty, surreal country we live in.
That's true, but people are much more, people are much more afraid to go out on a limb with their comedy, I think. Because we seem to be going through a period where people, there's more offense, whether real or feigned.
Everybody's trigger happy.
Like, it doesn't really happen to us because, like Grant's saying, I don't think that we ever, like, say anything too provocative. Or, like, if we do, it's kind of, I don't know, like maybe the poetry and the lyrics are kind of impressionistic enough that it's like it's not overt. It's not like hitting you over the head with a sledgehammer. Like this is like a political thing.
You kind of keep it straight in your lyrics. You know what I mean? It seems like the people in the band probably there's a lot more comedy in the associations you have and like the social interactions you have than in the music itself. Would you say that's true or not?
Yeah, we got to entertain ourselves. I mean, it's one of the things that keeps us going this long. And doesn't necessarily come out in our music, but it's just how we get a rise out of each other in the van.
Here, I'll say this. I think that I had such an articulate thing to say. I just totally forgot it.
Don't worry, I got it. No. Sorry.
No. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, honestly, I think that we are not really a band that stands in opposition to something, which a lot of bands are. They're sort of revolutionaries or they're trying to, stand against something, but I don't think we are. And so I think that we are not really like we don't push too many people's buttons in that way, and people don't get very upset for that reason because I think we're pretty inclusive.
Without like getting too much into the whole like discussion of privilege and that whole slippery slope, I think that we all kind of recognize, like none of us very naturally have like that kind of a voice, that confrontational, like kind of like I'm gonna make a revolutionary type voice. So it doesn't feel right to kind of like make these kinds of statements. But I think that what we do is that by being a band that's like so idiosyncratic and so going against what is like mainstream and just being very much our own thing, we create a safe space for similar types of, like that's kind of the ideal that I like to think about, is that it's like if people listen to us, they're inspired to do things that are outside of the boundaries, and that could be like, that can inspire them to do revolutionary acts if they really want, but it could just inspire them to be creative
or
also.
Just to go home and have great sex.
Yeah.
But you guys do have that sound. You have a sound that is actually very welcoming and very open. Your arrangements are so lush, for crying out loud, but they're also, I think it's going to put most of your audience in a pretty safe zone. It's beautiful stuff you guys are playing.
Thank you.
Do you think their music is good to have sex to?
I would think that there's a couple people that could fall in love out on the floor while you guys are playing.
That has happened.
Yeah,
Actually,
absolutely.
when we played in January, these people came to see us play, and they're like, "This is our 6-month anniversary, and we met at one of your shows, so we we came here, for our anniversary."
I know another couple who met, and has been maybe dating for 2 years, and that first night, it was their first time meeting, and they took me to a strip club after the show.
Far out.
Got me some tequila. I mean, so just there's something about what the vibe that we create that lets people jump in, and there's not every band is like that.
You're also not like a Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Like comedy is important to you as individuals, but you take the music seriously, and not that they don't. But the point of your stuff is not to be like, I'm going to make the audience laugh. Like you're not a stand-up comedy band, which a band like that I think would have to be more careful. You guys can kind of bunker box whatever inappropriate humor or fun in between the guys talk you want to do. It's not a part of the act. But it is something we all have to be cognizant of because we want to be sensitive of people. We don't want our stuff to harm anyone. But what's interesting about you guys is you did an interview now 4 years ago with SF Weekly, and one of you said, I don't remember, last name Hurlbut. Whose last name is Hurlbut?
Tom.
Hey, Tom. Tom said, because our earlier beginnings were much more wild, we kind of have a reputation of being silly, ridiculous, and off the wall. And a lot of people listened to you initially and maybe didn't come back to see what was to follow that vibe.
Right.
That was the point that you made. It seems like the band has shapeshifted. You use that word a lot in interviews. This is a band that has shapeshifted. Was silliness and humor more of a thing earlier in this band?
It's like looking back on it, I think we can have a different perspective on it. I think honestly at the time it just felt like the right thing. And now when I look back at it and kind of like the types of onstage antics and the masks and the jumping around and stuff, I think part of it was just we weren't yet fully comfortable in our own skin as a new entity, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that we also didn't know who we were as individuals. And so I think that was sort of an explorative process that everybody got to see. Like people that have known us since the beginning, that have seen that transformation. I think that, I think that's what's to be gathered. Is that, we were just fresh, you know?
It takes
Still
time.
green.
It takes time to find your voice in it. And, we've progressed a long way from those early days for sure.
I also think that sometimes people don't know how to react to music that's joyous, and that was kind of like our early sound was just like this kind of ecstatic, just shooting in all directions, kind of just like, wah! We just had so much fun, and we would, do ridiculous things when we played, and then we would have certain songs that were like, for lack of a better term, kind of zany, and I think that in our minds, we were doing like this thing that was like very nuanced and there was lots of different shades, but like what ended up coming across was like the really silly songs, or like when people would kind of like try to put be like, oh, this band is blah, blah, blah. What they would think about is like the antics.
They're fun.
Well, part of it is when we were trying to get our name on the map, we would play on the streets. And so a lot of people would catch us on the street. And we were very experimental in that scenario. And we would throw out, what's that game called where we used to have that mat? We used to put twister mats in the ground. We'd wear masks and we had capes and all sorts of fun stuff. And so people would get a first impression and their thought of us as jumping around in masks, and they didn't hear any songs. They just saw the spectacle.
Which, and I know you get something to say, but which is in the moment was great because it was like the way that you'd get people to pay attention to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're on the street and there's a bunch of street musicians, say in where you went to school, on the street.
Or New York.
You're trying to stand out. And so anybody even noticing what you're doing is great. But then if that starts to be what you're known for, that gets old kind of fast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had to confront that, being a street band versus being a legit band.
So it felt like when you did that interview in 2012, this was sort of, you were confronting this a little bit. You were sort of like, hey, reset button people who haven't checked in for a while. We aren't just a zany band. We've changed. It's been 5 years since we played. It's now 2016. Do you feel like the band has evolved much since 2012? Or do you feel like in 2012 you kind of became what you are now?
Ben wants to say something.
I could hear him.
I think that's actually a really interesting point, and I would say, thinking back 2012, the music, we still play a lot of the music that we kind of wrote around then, and I would say the main difference between then and now has been more about just better craftsmanship and being able to sort of perform better and play the music better and kind of take care of all the details. But I do think that we are still in that vein that we kind of set out then. That's a really interesting question.
I kind of think that the way that I think about it is that when we first started out, I think that we were like making a conscious effort to be to push it and to be different and to like not do something, not go the easy route.
And how old was everybody when they formed this band? 18?
No, we were I mean, we've been playing
Early
together.
20s.
Yeah,
Early 20s.
we've been playing together in various incarnations since we were in our late teens.
Yeah.
And now almost in your 30s, and maybe some in your 30s.
Yeah, no, yeah, we are
We're a 30-year-old band.
we are
plus.
solidly.
I mean,
30.
and the fascinating thing about this band and what we're setting out to do here is it's like not only have you as individuals changed in 9 years, but the band has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And what an incredible thing to keep 6 people together over 9 years
Yeah.
with change, and what was important to you then isn't important to you now, and
Sure.
6. It's just a messy process.
Yeah.
And it's actually very commendable that in the changing landscapes of your lives, you've been able to keep this project moving forward and still creating music.
Yeah, it feels good, like we have friends that, have started and ended bands and like during the course of our band lifetime, and it's like, we're still there.
I think for our band, we've always relished the opportunity to try something new with the idea of being in a band. And music is definitely a big part of it. And every song we try to create our own universe with that song, but we're always looking at new media and always new things to keep us excited just for the project of being in a band, whether it's artistic and creative.
Would you say that this group is, in addition to your band, also your like closest friend group?
Oh yeah,
Easily.
Definitely.
yeah.
Easily.
Brothers.
Brothers.
I'm getting married. I'll be the first to get married, and these are my boys here.
I'm
Ladies,
glad,
he's taken.
I'm glad you bring that up.
But our keyboard is not.
We'll give the phone number at the end of the broadcast.
Get on that. Radio Land, get on that.
But when you have your closest group of friends, sometimes things come up, hard times, and of course you got to work together to help them out individually, but also to keep the band going. Has the host, Battlehooch, let's say Battlehooch is the host, has it ever rejected someone's significant other?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wowzers.
Politically, I'd like to
Kind
take
of.
a fifth. Yeah, take a fifth.
I think we're gonna have to do the fifth on this one.
So
Some
yes,
names come to mind.
yes, a couple names come up,
Yeah.
and they won't be mentioned.
What a
right?
fascinating thing that is, though. And you know what's funny? When you're in the position of the person who's dating that person, you're
Yeah.
like, fuck you guys. I like this person. But inside, you're like, if they don't like her,
They're
they're
probably
probably
right.
right.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because that sort of thing, here's why it's interesting. Because sometimes people enter into relationships which change the whole dynamic of their lives. And if you've known a person for your whole life and this new thing is like destroying them or making them less of the fully realized person that they were, you're concerned as a friend and as a bandmate.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
And
Well, we are super lucky in that, we've, like the people that have significant others now, we've found partners that totally understand our passion and our commitment to this band, and they have never been like, you got it, it's
you
like
haven't been jealous of Battlehooch the host.
Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't been a me or them sort of situation.
Right.
Which sometimes happens with musicians.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Which
we
is legit. Yeah,
we
I can see
all
how that happens.
take the long view, and there might be 3 months where someone has just got some other project and they're barely there, or they're like there enough, but they're maybe not the person who's like visualizing the future or pulling everyone along, but it kind of moves around. And so, we've all kind of been the person who was maybe distracted, and then we've also been the visionary pulling everyone along. And there are enough people that it's, we all can take turns, and there's always someone who's like got a vision. And so
And that's interesting. You
works.
kind of pass the baton off sometimes. When someone's
lot,
having
yeah.
a tough time, we'll go over here and all that. Has this band almost self-destructed?
No, I don't know.
Not too bad.
And actually, I would say like not even like we've had tiffs.
Yeah.
Flare-ups.
Yeah, but like we're just like, we're brothers. Like literally, like we'll get in a fight, and then like later on that day we'll be like, I'm sorry, dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, dude.
We work it
dog.
out.
We always
And
work
you
it
have
out.
to.
Here's why it's so difficult. Because it's your closest friend group, and it's also your artistic passion, and it's also a huge part of your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So much of everything in your world is in this project. And when a piece is malfunctioning, it kind of affects everything else in your lives.
Certainly.
So I don't think people who don't have artistic projects understand that.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if Battlehooch ceased to exist tomorrow, that would leave huge holes. If the Phoenix Theater burned down tomorrow, that would leave a huge hole in your life and in my life.
Let's be careful.
Again.
with cigars, right?
I mean,
You mean again? 'Cause
again,
It's happened.
twice. So yeah, I mean, I would imagine that you've thought about what your lives would be like without Battlehooch.
Whoa.
Yeah, sure. I thought about destruction, death. Yeah.
But I mean,
Could
like,
happen anyway.
some people. Okay, so that's your alternative is death and destruction.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I'd be a plumber. I would be.
This has been holding me back from my plumbing career.
Yeah, guys, I really have a dream of working at the Chase Bank on Mission Street at 21st.
Battlehooch is your job.
lofty.
Plumbing is your passion.
Yeah.
I would like to see all of our solo albums though, with the breakup, the triple albums from some of these dark horses.
Okay, another question: has anyone at the table not pursued another avenue in life because of Battlehooch? Like, for example, like I could move to this place and take this job and do this thing, but I don't want to because I love Battlehooch and I don't want to leave it behind.
Huh.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, definitely.
I think all of us kind of maybe have done a little bit of that.
It's a sacrifice. You have
It
to
is.
sacrifice a lot to be in the band, and so everything that we've sacrificed are avenues that we haven't taken.
Yeah, I think often about how, especially like kind of going back to what I was saying, it's like there's just not very many people like us out there doing what we do. So there's kind of like this importance. It's like we have to do this, like the world needs this, and it's not like a thing that is necessarily going to yield immediate results per se. It's like I like to think that we're doing this for the ages, It's like we're doing this for people 100 years from now to find us and be like, oh, damn, they were doing it all the way back then, And that's why, at least that's why I keep doing it. And I mean, I mean, not to be like too pretentious, but I think the universe needs it. It's like like there isn't another Battlehooch. So we like the more songs that we do, the more shows we play, the more that we create this universe that can be like the safe space for somebody. Like they can go there and listen to it and that's kind of the thing that makes me so happy when we go out on the road and we meet people and they hear our band and they go like, oh man, then I went online and you have like concert videos and crazy trippy music videos and all this kind of stuff. So there's like a whole universe to like dive into.
I think each of us would probably have our own reasons for being in the band if we were asked separately. And for me, it's a choice more than it's a necessity, but it's a choice that I take on just for the existential journey of it, willingly, and something I want to do.
Yeah, for me, it's so much fun. Like there's nothing more fun than getting up there with 5 of your best friends and playing music. It's like the most fun, and then connecting with an audience, meeting new people.
Greatest highs in the world.
It is, and we keep going back for more, every day. That's what we're all about, and that's why I do it. It's like, what else would I do? That's it. This is it.
I'm not in Battlehooch, but I have my own Battlehooches, and for my Battlehooches, there's an urgency to it. Because there will probably be a day when my own Battlehooches are not able to be a part of my life anymore. Things change. Band members do other things. They die. Well, good. The world changes. I mean, things can change. Things can change in an instant. So for me and for my Battlehooches, there's an urgency to that stuff that is in my life because it's like, I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore because I love it so damn much.
You're here.
It's always fun and it's always interesting and there's always like something exciting kind of coming down the pipeline, so it's hard to be like, nope, yeah. There's just always something on the horizon, which is very intriguing.
Let's say that Battlehooch, this collection of 6 people, was just an individual. Like Battlehooch was a person.
Whoa.
Voltron.
Okay? So obviously Battlehooch of 2007, when the band formed, young, zany, wacky, fun, life of the party. Battlehooch gets a little older, wants to be taken a little bit more seriously. Here we are in 2016. What's Battlehooch like, this person? Do we want to hang out with this Battlehooch? Would this Battlehooch be a good boyfriend or girlfriend?
He's a little bit like Houdini.
Happy to please the crowds, but looking for that, special connection with the individual. That's really what matters.
With a casual shrug.
Would any of you want to date Battlehooch the person?
No.
I don't think so.
No way.
Well, that's like that's dating
yourself.
What's the fun of dating yourself?
A lot. And I'll tell you why.
yeah. Do tell.
Because it's like number one, sexually. It's like you know exactly what you want. Period. Don't have to instruct at all. Number two, if you're Battlehooch and you're dating Battlehooch, exactly if Battlehooch is in a good or a bad mood, and you know exactly how to respond.
See, that's so many like levels of abstraction because it's like already I do feel like like as I'm one person, but also part of like I'm 1/6 of this entity, this consciousness. So you're kind of talking about this consciousness which has multiple consciousnesses inside of it, interacting with the same. It's kind of like the 11th dimension, like different planes of existence, all potential existences happening simultaneously. It's kind of heavy to.
That's what we do on this show, AJ.
Wow.
But we would all have to be gay to date ourselves, right?
I don't know that you'd have to be necessarily. It could be
Labels.
it could be. First of all, sexualize the
Labels,
spectrum.
sir.
Sex to spectrum. First of all.
Yeah.
And second of all,
You know what? That's up in the girls' bathroom right now. It says gender is a social construct.
Yeah.
That's right.
So let's not get hung up on sexuality or gender.
I think it'd be really interesting because there are a lot of different battle hooches. It could be like the best part of each of us and then the really good person, or it could be like the worst. It's like, we all have different strengths and weaknesses that are complementary, but if it was just like, so there could be 6 different or, a million different versions.
Yeah.
Some of them would not be pretty.
And I think what it comes down to, and kind of what we're doing tonight, is it's like happy 10th anniversary, first of all. And it's like, what is this entity? And it's like, is it the best of all of you?
It would probably be more balanced than any of us individually.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all the good synthesized into one.
Actually, yeah, I think that is probably like at our best. What I think our music works the best when it's like we're able to kind of have it be like all of our hands, like all of us being involved without it being compromised, And I think that we've gotten really good at figuring out how to do that, like with each year.
Okay, so final prompt. Let's say Battlehooch the person dies in their sleep tonight. What would you say as a eulogy at the funeral?
So much existential layers to that.
That's perfect.
This is important.
Wait, what does David St. Hubbins say at the end of Spinal Tap? He's like, "Here lies Battlehooch, and why not?"
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
He lives
that's it,
in you.
We are all Battlehooch. Battlehooch is forever.
We're done.
That's it, dude. We're done.
They're done.
We're done, dude. It's been fun.
Well, I guess that's the eulogy of Battlehooch. We kind of eulogized it earlier a little bit, but an extremely important thing in all of your lives, integral to your identities, integral to the men that you've become.
Yes.
And tonight is sort of a very weird, but also, but still a celebration of the fact that you guys have made it 10 years in January. And so truly 100% congratulations on it, because very few people do anything for 10 years, let alone coexist with 6 other guys making music that is still pleasing to everybody in the equation. So, I mean, truly 100% congratulations.
Thanks,
on that.
man.
Thank you.
So the interview is concluded, but in just a moment, the shape-shifting Battlehooch is going to take the stage here and play us all sorts of music. Thank you again for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the cigars, man.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
I could be seen in shadows. I know a friend matters. If you could lift the fog, the forest for the trees. I know the boy after every sublime laughter. And if you just need cause, you have no time to foster. A posture, all the other angles left you crossed her, where every other word is just a lost cure. Crippled for a second, then you walk through. When we got monsters lurking at the foot of my bed, who conjure all the tales of horror you could ponder. Never close your eyes, she is a monster. It came on quick, my wires tripped. I felt like I got flipped. So I ran with the flag and it wasn't half bad. Now I think I've got the gist. And tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. And tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. It was just one hit, my wires stripped. I felt like I got ripped. But I ran with the flag and it wasn't half bad. Now I think I've got the gist. And tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. And tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. I know we've got a long way to go. I heard there was an earthquake and a storm. And even if the riot's in a roar, I'm pushing for some action even more. With just one hit, my cables flipped. Didn't know that I got ripped. But I ran through the snacks and it wasn't half bad. Now I think I've got the trick. In tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. In tuning time with mighty line, volition enter Scion. I know we've got a long way to go. I heard there was an earthquake and a storm. And even if the riot's in a roar, I'm pushing for some action even more. I know we've got a long way to go. I heard there was an earthquake and a storm. And even if the riot's in a roar, yeah, I'm pushing for some action even more. Enter Scion. Desolate reaches reminds me of beaches when it rains or when there's a storm. In my head, it's a deafening dread of fear and crashes up on the seashore.